Associate Professor Daniel Goh.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. These two clarifications for the SMS. Thank you for your clarifications. So, when you say that you don't take the phrase about race, religion, and politics being taken, that they are not sensitive subject matter because you are taking it out of context from it being put in the closing note on the co-classification. So, would Minister therefore agree with me, SMS, would you agree with me that these subject matters are therefore not sensitive in themselves, and Singaporeans therefore should be more open to discussing them in a civil manner, of course, in safe spaces, and that filmmakers should be encouraged actually to produce content so that they can spark off discussions among Singaporeans about these subject matters, so they're not sensitive in themselves. So that's the first clarification. So the second clarification is on prohibited films. And I did not mention those two prohibited films because I've not watched them, because they're prohibited. And that's precisely the problem, I think, because I would have wanted to watch them to make the judgment, myself, that, these films are not good because they promote violence and so on and so forth, to overthrow the government, etc., etc. But the problem is precisely the censorship has alerted me to these films. And that's how I knew about these two films. The publicity, that surrounds the prohibition, the censorship, and the banning of these films actually attracted me to these films. And that is what I think some of the practitioners would call the Streisand effect. So have IMDA actually looked into this Streisand effect and see whether the banning of these two films actually have encouraged and attracted more people to go and look for these films and to watch them. And therefore, we have the unintended consequences of actually promoting these films more than prohibiting them. Thank you.
Minister of State Chee Hong Tat.
Deputy Speaker, I thank Associate Professor Daniel Goh for his clarifications. First point, I don't think I said that race, religion, and politics are not sensitive issues. I think what I clarified earlier was that I asked Associate Professor Goh whether he was referring to the closing note in which he quoted the remarks from IMDA and MCI, and whether that remark that he was referring to actually came from the section in the closing note touching on co-classification. So that was my clarification to Associate Professor Goh, and he has confirmed that that was where he saw that phrase. So I wanted to just put it in context that when we say that the race, religion, politics were mentioned as sensitive subject matters, it was in the context of, therefore, for co-classification, we are not opening up this co-classification arrangement to films with content touching on race, religion, and politics for a start. So that was the basis of my clarification earlier. The point that Associate Professor Goh made about then should we have films that touch on race, religion, politics to raise awareness, to generate discussion. I think that was the point that he asked. Certainly, I think we do have many of such films. In fact, not too long ago, our parliamentary colleague, Dr. Janil Puthucheary, was involved in two films with Channel News Asia touching on race, on religion. And there are many other films by filmmakers, both the filmmakers who are working on political films, films with political content, films touching on race, on religion. I think you can find plenty of examples. Now, what I mentioned earlier was that these films are allowed, but they will go through IMDA's classification system. So some may be given, depending on the content. So it's case by case. The second clarification on prohibited films, I think this is why IMDA takes a very, and MCI, we take a very judicious and careful approach to exercising the powers under Section 35 on prohibited films. Every decision that's taken under Section 35, something that we have to go through very careful consideration, and it should be used really as a last resort, because there are many other ways to, through classification, for example, to be able to deal with some of the risks and concerns. But we want to keep Section 35 as provisions to deal with films with egregious content. So I want to assure Associate Professor Goh and the House that these powers will be exercised in a careful and judicious manner. Thank you.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of the opinion say aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
The Films Amendment Bill.
Committee stage what day?
Speaker, sir, before I respond to that, could I just add a small paragraph to my speech?
Yes.
So I just want to say that our amendments will give greater clarity to the film industry and society, and where there are greater risks involved, IMD will be empowered to do the necessary. So certain regulations have not been amended because the fundamental nature of our multiracial and multireligious society has not changed. And indeed, this is something that we want to preserve and protect. My ministry and IMDA are confident that these amendments will be a positive move to help film regulation in Singapore evolve with the times, to protect our young, provide choices for adults, and constructively shape our social development as a nation. So I thank all honourable members for their views and their support. But as I mentioned earlier, we will always evolve, we will always look for future amendments if we have to do so, but this is always something which is a work in progress. On that note, sir, I beg to move that the Parliament be immediately resolve itself into committee on the bill.
Okay. The question is that Parliament will immediately resolve itself into a committee on the bill. As many as are of the opinion say aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is that clauses 1 to 27 stand part of the bill. As many as are of the opinion say aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Bill to be reported. Minister for Communications and Information.
Speaker, sir, I beg to report that the bill has been considered in committee and agreed to without any amendments.
Third reading, what days?
Now, sir, I beg to move that the bill be now read a third time.
The question is that the bill be now read a third time. As many as are of the opinion say aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
The Films Amendment Bill.
Leader of the House.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that Parliament do now adjourn to a date to be fixed.
The question is that Parliament do now adjourn to a date to be fixed. As many as are of the opinion say aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order. Order.